Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit moon making a square opposition or inconjunct aspect to natal Jupiter. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve the moon, they can be about emotions, feelings, needs, responses, reactions, the public. And at this time, when you have this transit making basically an adverse aspect to your natal moon, well, it may manifest in the emotions, feelings, needs, responses, reactions, the public. And those things may conflict with you trying to expand horizons. It might simply be that you just don't feel like expanding horizons or going outside your box at this time. Keep in mind, this transit does not last very long. I don't see it as overly significant. It lasts about 10 hours on average if you're using a 3 degree applying aspect and 2 degree separating aspect, because the moon moves about 1 degree every 2 hours. So for 5 degrees, it takes approximately 10 hours to move. And the thing is, and say if Jupiter is in Aquarius, it might be, not willing to expand your horizons as far as friendships go, or goals, aspirations, things with astrology, astronomy, anything that could be Aquarius related. And it may also be about publishing. And in some cases, though it may be isolated, it can be something where something that may have been published, might cause, a little agitation, or cause you to get, a little bit more, emotionally upset than usual. If it's something about you, especially, and it's something, say, if if Capricorn is involved, natal Jupiter's in Capricorn, it could be something connected with your status, your reputation, your public image. It might affect, maybe you're afraid it might affect your career. Jupiter is also associated with higher education, so it can be a time, again, going back to how one may feel. The moon is connected with the moods and how we're feeling. So as far as if you're involved in higher education, if you're currently, say, taking college courses, it might be a time where you might not be up for it, or have that 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 emotional need for higher education may not be there at that time. You might be dealing, there might be something going on emotionally that might be affecting what you want to do in terms of matters pertaining to higher education. There might be situations, some cases with in-laws, that might be causing some kind of emotional upsetment at this time. Maybe it's conflicting with your home life to some degree. Um, Another thing, too, it's interesting about this is that Jupiter is connected with traveling abroad, and the moon, of course, could be associated with the home, the family, the mother, people that are prominent in your home life, people you're close to home with. And these issues may be adversarial at this time. It could be a situation with the home and the family, maybe prohibiting you from traveling abroad, or the fact that you have some need to go traveling abroad. You might wind up neglecting some actual regular home related matters at this point in time as a result. Now, Jupiter is also connected with your philosophy as well. And it might be a time where it could be home and family members, maybe they're adversarial to your philosophy, your beliefs, or even a religion. Say Jupiter, again, it's going back to the zodiac sign Aquarius. If Jupiter is in Aquarius, maybe there's some kind of unorthodox religion you have, or there might be an astrological belief or philosophy you have that maybe your family is in a little bit of a conflict with at this time. And Jupiter is also about optimism. So it could be a time where, this could be in some cases you might be feeling it's distorted optimism in some cases, how this may manifest, because remember, the moon is about how we feel, our mood or temperament. Jupiter is connected with optimism and enthusiasm. So it could be a time where you might be over optimistic, or just simply don't have enough at this time And I think sometimes it may actually go the other way. Now, another thing too is that anatomically speaking, Jupiter is connected with the hips, the thighs, pancreas, sciatic nerve, obesity, and cancer. Now, this is only like about a 10-hour transit, roughly. So, anything like serious, like cancerous, is not something to really look at this time of this transit. Now, if you are somebody that currently does have something cancerous, though, then it might exasperate you a little bit more. It might bother you a little bit more at this time, more so than usual. The transit moon is in Aries, and as an example, it could be very acrimonious, very angry type of emotions that could be going on because of this at this time. But at the same time, again, it's really not. These transits are not overly significant. They do happen frequently, though, because you're going to have because the moon is going to take around 28 days to go through all 12 zodiac signs. You're going to have um, a transit like this is going to happen like 5 times a month, because you figure you're going to have two squares from the transit moon to your natal Jupiter. You're going to have an opposition, and you're going to have two inconjunct aspects. So um, but another thing too is that this is a situation, and it could be a thing too, where again Jupiter is connected with exuberance and enthusiasm. So it could be where one might be feeling a little bit more. It could be over exuberance or over enthusiasm, or it might be harder to try to be feeling enthusiastic at this time, more so than usual. That enthusiasm might be might be something that you're trying to get, but maybe it's just you feel like it's just not there at this time. And the thing is, it's probably best if you can to wait until the transit's over, if possible, if you're going to be trying to do, things in general, because if you don't have that exuberance, it might be something where you can do something better when you have it more in you, as opposed to not having it at this time. And Jupiter is also connected with the law and the truth. And it could be a situation when you have this transit where it could be some matters, with the law, whether, you might have broken, say if you were, say a Pisces is involved, it might be through some, driving while intoxicated or under some influence. It might cause more emotional upsetment, more so than usual. Sometimes the truth could hurt a little bit more, and under this, aspect, more so than many others, because the moon is our sensitivity, and you might be feeling a little bit more sensitive to the truth at this time. Say, going to Jupiter, and if Jupiter's in Capricorn, it could be where you're at in your stature of life, or your career, and how ambitious you are. Maybe there's something that's, somebody's telling you could be doing a little bit better as far as that goes. Maybe that is what could be causing some emotional pain at this time. Now, Jupiter is also connected with extravagance. So at this time, one needs to be careful that they're not, they might be in this mood to splurge and to be extravagant. And Jupiter could be connected with recklessness. So it's really important to not go overboard at this time, because if you're somebody that's, a gambler, you don't want to lose everything in one shot just because you have this need to want to go do it, and it may not pan out the way you want it to. Now, another way that this transit can manifest, this could be, again, I'm going to reiterate what I was saying earlier about a family member or a mother. Could be a prominent female in your life, someone you're close to home with. They may be averse to your philosophical beliefs. Say if Jupiter is in Aquarius, it could be some, unorthodox belief or philosophy or religion, or an astrological philosophy in some cases. Some cases too, this could be about your past memories, which could be associated with the moon, may affect, long distance traveling. It could be, say for example, if this is Capricorn, the transit moon in Capricorn opposing your natal Jupiter in Cancer, maybe there's some memories that being overly, pessimistic and negative, just in general, that may affect perhaps traveling abroad to a place where you'd be feeling very comfortable and at home with, which of course could be Cancer. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, now in some cases too, another way this transit may be expressed, it could be sometimes excessive, which is Jupiter, water retention, which is the moon, um, and it can be overindulgence of food, which is the moon as well. And say if, for example, if the transit moon is in Gemini, maybe it's a variety of food in general. It could be eating a lot of fast food. Um, it could be something where you have to be careful over very distorted, which is Jupiter, emotional reactions, which is the moon. Say if the transit moon is in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be very, being exceptionally overjoyed and jubilant and exuberant when it may not be, where it's really, the reaction might be a little bit, distorted over something. It's very, because Jupiter can enlarge, things. And anyway, and it might be something where again you might be more sensitive to a a health related issue if you do have it. If there's something going on with the pancreas or the hip or the thigh, or even obesity or cancer, it can be something where it might bother you emotionally more so than usual at this time. But again, the transit is not doesn't last for a very prolonged or protracted period, so it's something that doesn't last long. But you do have a lot of these transits of the moon, to making square, inconjunct, or opposition to natal Jupiter during the year. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.